2024 was a busy year for the Irish Cultural Center's Program Committee, with 38 events attended by over 1,000 persons, including many first-timers. January, Patty Foley shared her research on Brehon law, the original native law of Ireland, and the second oldest recorded legal system in history. Weaving a St. Bridget's cross has become an annual tradition celebrating Nimble, where attendees learned about Ireland's patron saint and weave crosses of rushes from Ireland. In February, program attendees learned about the roots and evolution of traditional Irish music, starting with the ancient bards to our modern-day pub sessions. And speaking of pub sessions, folks enjoy our first Wednesday of the month traditional session in the 5 Points Pub, led by Craig Dugan O'Looney. Harp Museum Director and Grand Marshal of the 2022 St. Patrick's Day Parade, Al Sistai, presented the history of Utica's St. Patrick's Day Parade, organized by Irishmen and Utica's first elected mayor, John Devereaux, 200 years ago. What better way to start the busy month of March than with the rousing rebel music of Derek Warfield and the Young Wolf Tones? Look for them in 2025. Musician historian Mark Sistai gave a presentation on the causes and effects of the 1981 hunger strike that killed 10 political prisoners in Long Kesh. Utica native Michael Roddy played for a full house with his band Rise and Go, a world-class trio specializing in traditional Irish, Scots, and Down East Canadian and Cape Breton music. A perennial favorite, look for them in 2025. Several days worth of events were held leading up to the St. Patrick's Day Parade, including placing shamrocks on John Devereaux's grave, painting the Green Line down Genesee Street, and raising the Irish flag at City Hall. Several persons with extensive travel experience to Ireland shared their thoughts, tips, and tricks with others planning an Irish adventure. Mike Mahana presented the basics of container gardening and educated us on the flowers of Ireland, many of which that were used here. Our patio Irish county flags were quite worn, so we disposed them in the same dignified manner that the American flag is disposed. Prior to disposing of each flag, we read a brief highlight of its county. The public was invited to attend and bring any worn Irish national or county flag for proper disposal. Professor Tony O'Flynn joined us via Zoom from Ireland to talk about the 19th century Irish emigrant and poet Patrick Condon, where he lived in Ireland, why he came to America, and the importance of his writings. Several of Condon's descendants were present and participated in the program. Every June, the Harp Museum becomes the streets of early 20th century Dublin as we celebrate Leopold Bloom's epic journey through that fair city streets in the James Joyce classic novel Ulysses. Oneida County historian Joan Klausner became curious about the street names of Utica after she learned about a street in South Utica that bore the name of one of her ancestors. Through research, she learned that the name of many Utica streets reflect the history of the area and the people who have lived there over the years. Klausner compiled her findings into a book, Utica Streets, A Stroll into History. Quilter Patty Foley facilitated a workshop series in which Celtic knotwork is appliqued to pre-quilted fabric to make quilt squares, tote bags, pillow covers, or whatever you could imagine. The series ran through September. We kicked off our highly successful Lunch and Learn series reprising, with updated findings, our previous talk on Patrick Condon. The series are presented on the second Wednesday of each month. The 11 a.m. presentation is followed by a lunch prepared by the 5 Points Public Health staff. Performance photographer Kevin Yadarola was on hand to talk about his career in performance photography. Among the many luminaries, such as Harry Belafonte, he has photographed were giants in the world of Irish music, including Shane MacGowan, Joni Madden, and Sinead O'Connor. Project Children intern Chloe Griffin gave a presentation on the ancient Irish sport of hurling. It included a brief history of the sport and an explanation on how the game is played and scored. She demonstrated how the ball, sliotar, and hurley are used. Attending children and adults were given a chance to try their hands at it. On August 1st, the ICC unveiled the historical marker of Irishman first elected mayor of Utica, John C. Devereaux. Sue Romero, a freelance writer, substitute teacher, and musician with Craig Dugan O'Looney, presented stories of amazing Irish women, tales of women who stood up to monarchs, built the flying machine, wrote science books, and saved thousands of children's lives. Patty Foley talked about three notable Irish immigrants who at one time or another were residents of Troy, New York: James Connolly, John Morrissey, and Mame Faye. Local musician and historian Mark Sistai presented the story of Ireland's uncrowned king, Charles Stuart Parnell. Sisters Cassie and Maggie MacDonald from Nova Scotia had toes tapping and hands clapping with their upbeat Irish and Scots music from Nova Scotia. Dublin storyteller Helena Byrne made her second appearance in Utica with her tales and tunes of Ireland. Attendees to our October lunchtime presentation learned about the Irish origins of Halloween and how its traditions are seen in one of the most popular celebrations in America. Our first film for 2025 tells the forgotten story of Violet Gibson, the 49-year-old daughter of the Lord Chancellor of Ireland, who shot and almost assassinated Italian dictator Benito Mussolini in 1926, and how the world conspired to write her out of history. Musicians from Craig Dugan O'Looney celebrate Samhain with stories and songs. The Job of Songs, a film about a community of musicians from the west coast of Ireland seeking connection and joy through music as they face a modernizing world, was a big hit. Al Sistai, director of the Harp Museum, gave a biographical presentation on John Devereaux and his many accomplishments in the years following his arrival from Ireland. The presentation closed with a few words on what has been done to recognize his many contributions to the city he called home. In the film Verdigris, a middle-class, middle-aged woman trapped in an abusive marriage takes on a part-time job as a census taker and befriends a tough teenage sex worker who helps her deal with Dublin's inner-city citizens. The film premiered at Galway International Film Festival in 2023, where it won the Best Independent Film Award. The film was made available through the Irish Film Institute and Culture Ireland. November saw the start of our Youth Lunch and Learn series, where area youth were offered the opportunity to learn about various aspects of Irish culture. Children participated in Irish step dancing, fiddle, tin whistle, baran, and genealogy workshops. This youth program series was funded through the auspices of a Legislative Initiative Program grant secured by Assemblywoman Marianne Buttonshaw and administered out of the New York State Office of Children and Family Services. An appropriate topic for the Christmas season, Lorraine O'Donnell, Executive Director of Constable Hall, was on hand to tell us how the beloved poem, A Visit from St. Nicholas, better known as 'Twas the Night Before Christmas, was inspired by the historic poem that has been a house museum for 75 years. It wouldn't be December without our highly anticipated paint and sip event, expertly guided by artist Jill Ray Venera. This year, the gang painted wine bottles with very light accents placed inside. These are the folks that work so hard together to bring these fine programs to the ICC. Garamilium Haga, thank you for your support. We look forward to seeing you in 2025.